So I'm gonna actually talk about some ways that I've built my practice, and then I'd also love to demo the Solaria on stage as well. So if anybody, any of my support in the back can make sure my trainers come on up and get that patient up here, and so we can make sure that we're also showing you guys. So I'm really excited that we get to show you the Solaria. So the reason that I think it's really important, I'm gonna really deep dive into how I built my practice and how I use non-consumable technology to really grow my practice, how to physically get patients through the door. So I'm gonna really kind of hyper focus on those things. And so I really hope this is beneficial. So if you've missed my beginning speak, I'm Dr. Christina Donne. I'm a DNP family nurse practitioner, and I opened my practice in 2019. I didn't know that there was gonna be a pandemic, and so we've kind of grown over the years, but I had a device when we started. And so I knew that I was gonna lean heavily into the technology, and that was gonna set me apart from everyone else. Now, I own 9 InMode devices, so my plan worked. And so it's really been able to build upon each other, but I love non-consumable devices, which InMode does better than anyone else. And so I'll really show you how those are working. I talk to a lot of practices who don't understand or are concerned about investing into their practice. And so research shows that the practices that have technology make more money by 30%. So we are talking about not only increasing our revenue, but for me, my practice is running right now. They are seeing patients, they are making money, and I am not on, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm not on site. I am not in Arizona. I am not there right now, and it is able to continue without me being there. So I've really leaned heavily into my non-invasive treatments and the things that I can delegate out to do that. And so the first thing, we'll start with our Solaria and we'll start with our demo if my trainers want to come up and my patient. And so Solaria is an amazing CO2 device. I really drug my feet on bringing on a CO2. I knew that CO2 had a consumable cost associated with it. I knew that CO2 had a yearly maintenance associated with it. I knew there were a lot of things that I didn't want about the device until InMode brought out their CO2. This CO2 is run by RF energy, and so it's sustainable. There's no consumable. I don't have to do that yearly maintenance. And so I've really leaned into the CO2, and it's replaced a lot of my consumable treatments that we were doing previously. And so the Solaria, we've had it for a while now. We do a lot of combination treatments with it as well. It's a great device and very versatile. So what was really important to me as well, not everybody wants to have 14 days of downtime. Some people want a light CO2 and then to be out and about the next day, right? We're in a really small town. I am my town's dirty little secret. I will go to the grocery store, I will lock eyes with my clients, and they'll be like, don't say hi to me, don't say hi to me, walk, 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 right? And so I'm the town's dirty little secret. I can't be blasting their faces off and then walking around town and be like, it's just a sunburn. It's just a sunburn, Arizona. And so this is a great device because I can provide them with that light peel and still be the dirty little secret, or for my patients who are willing to admit that it's self-care is okay and we want to age gracefully, I can give them a more aggressive treatment. So we're numbing the skin and we're giving them these treatments. What's also really great about this device is it does what's called a scattern pattern. And so that's where it's going to scatter those lights, it's also gonna trick the brain, so it's gonna be a little bit more comfortable. They're gonna heal a little bit more evenly. They're not gonna have those grid marks. You do have the availability to do a grid pattern, circle pattern, square pattern, but really what we love in our practice is doing that scattern. And so it really helps with the comfort. And so you'll see it live on stage here though. And so you can see that we're not gridding the area. And so we're able to heal faster, less downtime. So they're cleaning off the patient. We always clean our patient prior to. This is a really quick treatment as well. And so my staff are scheduled out for about a half hour for a full face. And so they are able to turn the room around very quickly. Again, there's not a whole lot of consumable involved. Like I said, my husband is my office manager and he's in the audience. So he would tell you there's gloves, there's numbing gel. But again, for me, that means nothing, right? That means no consumable cost. So there's nothing that I'm constantly having to invest in to make sure that I'm able to provide this treatment. They are very comfortable. You can see she just topically numbed. I do have Pronox in my practice only because I had to bring it on due to a really painful other treatment that I no longer offer. What rhymes with Ulthera? No, we can't. Okay, so I had it because of that. I never brought it on for Morpheus specifically, for the CO2 specifically, but I do have it as an option mainly for my patients who I don't want them to keep talking, right? That's sometimes nice to give them something to do. But as you can see, she's already started. She's fine. She said, I'm fine. See? So it's a nice, easy, fast. We do always wear eye protection. But the treatment is quick and effective. You can also see with the light where we're going to go. And so the light helps guide. You can see the reaction to the tissue there. You're gonna have beautiful skin after this. I love this for you. Look at how quick it is. She's saying she's comfortable. So we are doing a lot of the Solaria in combination with our Morpheus 8 as well. And so I really love combining the two. I love combination therapies in general. I'll go over a bunch of my favorite ones in just a few minutes, but I love combination therapies. We are no longer doing 1 millimeter and the resurfacing with the patients that we're combining it with the Morpheus. And so most people with Morpheus will say there's most discomfort with that 1 millimeter. And so we are doing all the deeper depths, really hyper focusing that Morpheus in that bad fat area, and then combining it with the Solaria CO2 to really give that resurfacing, tightening, brighter look. And so she's already done with the upper face. She's moving down. And so as you can see, it's an extremely easy, fast, safe treatment. It's delegatable. I'm not even the one doing it. You can see the tissue response really quickly. And so if we can go back to my slides. So they'll finish up the treatment as I go to my slides. And so in my practice, we didn't have really great resurfacing. So my staff were leaning heavily onto a lot of chemical peels, which I've never really loved. I know, I'm sorry, estheticians, I apologize. And so they're just not as controlled. They're very dependent on who's providing them. There's a huge consumable cost. They can expire. And so we've been able to really get away from any of those chemical peels because this device can do that light peel, that darker peel, that deeper peel, right? We can do all of that with this. And so now I don't have that continual consumable cost, and we're able to keep with that combination therapy. It's great for the surfacing large pores as we age, acne scarring. A lot of our patients with active acne have been so thrilled with the results with this. They say that it's really helped improve. We were treating their acne scarring, and they're telling me how much less acne, that their active acne that they're seeing. And so this is one treatment, this patient. This is her 4-week ready for her second treatment. We're doing a series of 3, you know, we always love a series of 3. And so this patient, she was so impressed with the under eye results. She was over the moon. She was so thankful for this, and all we did was Solaria with this treatment. I also use a lot of my hands-free, non-consumable, passive devices to really bring in business as well. And so I use my Evolve, which has that tight tone transform, and I use my Define, which can help tighten the submentum and mid-face. And so those are hands-free, passive treatments, and I'll tell you how I use them to bring in patients. Does anybody have Evolve or Define? A couple. So let me give my tips and tricks for those. So it's bipolar radio frequency, so it doesn't see skin type, safe for everyone, which is really important to me because I'm in southern Arizona, and so a lot of my patients are Fitzpatrick 4, 5, and 6. I treat a high Hispanic and Native American clientele, so this is great. But some of my tricks are, InMode calls it a call button. So this is a passive treatment. You put them on the device, and then you leave the room to go do something else, like a Morpheus or Solaria. So they're in there receiving the treatment. So my staff are always double booked. They are always doing a Define or Evolve in one room and another treatment in another. Morpheus, Solaria, laser hair removal. They always have 2 patients at a time. So I'm able to generate double income with 1 staff member. That's really important to me as a business owner. But I've learned you cannot call that button a call button. So it's a button we give them. If they're uncomfortable at any point, they're supposed to click it and it stops the treatment. I have learned the hard way that if you call it a call button, they will click it, stop the treatment because they need a fluffed pillow or a drink of water. So you really need to be careful, and you call it a stop button so they know that's what it does, stop the treatment. My other tip is don't forget they're in there. A practice owner may have twice closed up shop, walked to her car in the parking lot, and thought, that's odd. Why is Karen's car still? Oh my goodness, she's still on the bed. And so it only happened twice. She was asleep. She didn't know. It's fine. And so my other tip is remember. Try to give yourself a way to remember. So we bought like a little timer on Amazon. It connects to all the girls' Apple Watches. And so it reminds them that somebody is in that room because you may forget them. Don't make those mistakes. We also are really good about weights, realistic expectations, photos. InMode has this little photo mat we can all purchase on our little website. And so I love this mat. We use it all the time for all of our treatments. I think it's the best 35 bucks I ever spent. And so it really helps keep our photos consistent. And so we always take photos prior, because here's the thing. If you do a body contouring treatment, patients like to gain weight. And so just know that weights are important, measurements, and photos. This is some of my favorite placements for tight. And so it can be used anywhere from the neck down. So it can be used on the arms. That's typically the most common place that we're using it, but these are some of my favorite locations. We use tone a lot as well. These are some of my favorite locations for tone, so we can use it on the buttocks, on the abdomen, on the legs, on the arms. And then transform is the one that's going to combine the EMS and the radio frequency. And so these are some of the most common placements that we're using it. We're using it on inner thigh, upper knees, buttocks, the list goes on and on. I actually have 2 slides because that's the one we're using the most. So we can use it on the love handles, under the buttocks, upper knees, lots of different places. And again, the only thing that we're using with this is ultrasound gel, so no consumable cost. So I do things a little bit differently in my practice. I do a lot of memberships, but I don't do like a big membership where you pay this much and you get a list of things to choose from. My clients are a little bit more simple and they get confused easily. And so I have learned that I need to make memberships per treatment. And so in my practice, I have lots of different memberships, and one of them is for the body contouring or facial contouring. We charge $9.97. And if you heard me earlier, that 97 is called the Walmart effect. It helps trick the brain. And so that is a 3-month membership. So my clients are getting 12 treatments rather than the traditional 6. But again, it's a passive treatment. We have an average of 27 people a month on this membership. And so that's an average of $27,000 passively that we're making. I don't have to hire another staff member. We're able to generate that passively. And so if anybody else knows how I can passively make $27,000 a month, I'm like all ears. This is the easiest passive income. We also use our hands-free to drive in business. And so I have learned the hard way, that's the hardest thing. As a business owner, how do I get my patients into the clinic? How do I get them in there? So what I do is I use my no consumable cost passive treatments to do that. So I have a couple of different ways. I'll run a special. If you spend $500, you get a complimentary body or facial contouring treatment, and you get one to give to a friend. Now, if you walked into my practice off the street, those treatments would cost you $500, even though they don't cost me anything. They cost you $500. So it has a really big ticket item attached to it. Also, those new patients are locked and loaded into that hands-free device for 1 hour. They couldn't run away from me if they tried. So in that hour, I get to tell them all the great things that we do. Do they always turn into a body facial contouring patient? Not always, but they turn into a patient. So I have my patients bring me in new clientele. We also send out flyers that I'll show you, inviting them to the clinic, giving them a complimentary treatment. We partner with a lot of others like chiropractors, nail salons, hairdressers, and we offer them a free treatment, not to their patients, but to them. I market to the nail artist, I market to the cosmetologist, because that's who I want to get the treatment and then tell all of their patients about it. But if you walk into a business and say, hey, I'm new, I would love it if you would refer me all your clients. I know you've worked really hard for them, so if you can just go ahead and give them to me too, that'd be great. It's not typically a good conversation. But if you walk in there offering them a complimentary treatment, that way they can walk in, they can see how beautiful your facility is, they can see how nice your staff are, all the different things that you do, and then they will naturally tell their clients about you. I also, how many people here get those cute little kids with those big eyes who come into you and say, will you donate something to us? Will you donate to our raffle, our school, our nonprofit? It's just me, they're only targeting me. They only have my address, nobody else. Okay, so we get tons of them. We're in a really small town. And so I get them all the time. When I first opened, I would make these beautiful baskets, right? With like skincare and beautiful things, and it would cost me hundreds of dollars, and I would give it to these cute little kids, and I'd say, there you go. And they'd say, thanks. And I never heard anything again, right? Like I never saw it again. So now I've learned, I give a lot to my community, but I give them treatments that the patient has to walk in to receive. So I give tons of complimentary body contouring and facial contouring treatments, because if the person who wins that or raffles at it, are we all done? How fast was that? I'm not even done with my chat yet. Like, that was amazing. Let's give them a round of applause. That was so fast. So that was a full face, and it's less than 20 minutes. So it was fantastic. Thank you. And neck too. Base, she's an overachiever. Face and neck in less than 20 minutes. So do you see how fast it is? Show everybody your face. Show how beautiful you look. Look, she's not even going to scare the children. She looks so good. And so, yes, so it's a really fast treatment. Great face and neck. Love that for you. Okay. Back to my cute little kids. So anyways, I give them now body contouring or facial contouring. That way, whomever's is purchasing or winning that treatment, they have to physically walk into my practice to get that treatment. And so if you're going to donate to the community, my advice is make sure that it's something that they have to walk into your practice to receive, because you want to convert them into new patients. In my town, I have won Small Business of the Year twice because my community thinks I donate so much to them. It doesn't cost me anything and it helps me out too. It's fine, we'll all be fine. And so, but my community really likes how involved I am and how much I'll give them those treatments. And so know that that's a great way to drive in business as well. But make sure when you're donating that it's something that they have to walk in to get. We also were a town growing. When I opened, we had 35,000 people, and now we have over 75,000 people. And so I use old school mailers to drive in business. And so on this website, you can actually purchase all of the homes that close in whatever zip code you would like. And so in my town, I only have 2 zip codes. And so we purchase that. We let them settle in. We give it about 60 to 90 days after they've purchased, you know, get the pictures on the wall, that type of thing. And then we send out this flyer. Welcome to the neighborhood, just for you. And then on the back side, a complimentary body contouring treatment valued at $500. Welcome to the neighborhood. Let me give you a body contouring treatment. So we do this for many reasons. 1, it doesn't cost me anything. 2, they have to be in my practice for a full hour to hear all the wonderful things that we do. 3, it's going to drive in my type of client. My type of client is the one that wants body contouring. My type of client is the one that's looking for those services, right? I've tried this with B12s before we had the body contouring, and I would randomly get the trucker who just needed a pick-me-up and wasn't really my kind of guy. Maybe he'd be an Apex guy now, though. Anyways, but it wasn't my client on a regular basis. So really honing in what your client looks like, who you're trying to market, who are you trying to drive business through your door. And so we do it with these flyers. What's so cool is I've only been doing this for about a year and a half, but since then I've been able to meet some of the practices who have done some of the implementation that I've had. So this practice did the spend $500, get a treatment, give a treatment, and they were able to gain 22 new clients, which is fantastic. They only ran the special for 1 week, and so that's great. They were able to generate new clientele naturally. Their clients were doing all of the hard work for them. This practice was able to donate to the community. They were a smaller practice. They were in like a little salon suite, but they really wanted to be more involved into the community. They had over an 80% turnaround rate, which I would talk to them about maybe increasing, but that's a different story. And so they were able to generate new business, give back to their community, and get a lot of that free advertisement for Best Of. This clinic was starting to do a lot of the combination treatments. So they combined their medical weight loss with the Evolve, and they were able to capture clients that were going to competitors that were getting those treatments online. And so they were able to funnel them into their practice and really set themselves apart from all other medical weight loss and really generate that revenue. So it is reproducible. Using a few of those tips and tricks, they've been able to really gain new clients and bring it in. So combination treatment is also how I try to really set myself apart from my competitors. And so the way to do a combination treatment is to start with a good questionnaire. Now, there are a couple of things on this questionnaire I like to point out. I do not offer facials. I do not offer chemical peels in my practice, but I'm asking my clients if they're interested in that. And why am I doing that? Not because I want to give them a facial or a chemical peel. I'm asking that so I can pivot them to something else. A lot of patients will tell me, yeah, I want a facial because I have this sunspot right here that I want to get rid of, right? And I can pivot them. Actually, that's going to be helped with the IPL. The Lumecca is beautiful for that. We can really see results with this. This is the standard of care. Or you have patients, I really want a facial because I want to tighten my skin. That's fantastic. The Morpheus is what we recommend for that. And so a lot of our clients don't understand the different treatments or how to get from point A to point B. So use things in your questionnaire that they're familiar with. Use terms that even if you don't offer them so that they understand how to get from point A to point B. Don't be afraid to list things that you don't offer. So these are some of my favorite combination treatments. These are the ones that we do most in the practice. Essentially, I lay up at night thinking of combination therapies. Many people lay up worried about, the world, and I'm like, what else can I combine with Solaria? So these are some of my favorites. I love the results that we get with these combination therapies. And then I'll let you take the there we go, she got the picture. Okay, so this is Define and Morpheus. And so I really developed this one out of necessity. And so a lot of us, we buy these devices, and do we get as many treatments as we want? Absolutely not. And so I've never done a series of 3 Morpheus on a timely manner. I get maybe 1 every 18 months. And so I was like, how do I get better results faster? And so if we preheat that tissue, we can get faster results. But I also found if you preheat that tissue, it can also make the Morpheus more comfortable. And so it really takes, because the heat is already within the tissue and it's not being shocked every time you're doing the Morpheus. And so it kind of gave us 2 birds, 1 stone. And so this is mine. This is with 1 Define, 1 Morpheus, 6 weeks apart. Now, I am a fast responder. Not everybody responds this quickly, but this is 6 weeks apart for those photos. And it's been reproducible for our patients as well. So we're able to give them that wow factor really quickly, and they feel like they're being set apart from all of our competitors. We do the same with the body contouring and the body Morpheus as well. And so you can really see how much apoptosis of those fat cells we really did in just that 1 treatment. It's great for that rippling cellulite as well. Dimpling cellulite is caused from a little bit of a different issue. We've also really combined the Define and the Forma. The Forma is able to hit the under eyes or really hyper concentrate on places that we can't with the device for long. This patient, her husband did not want her to do anything invasive, so nothing with needles. And so she was able to get this after a series of 12, 6 months later, but nothing else besides Define and Forma in that jawline. No filler. I don't do jawline filler. Everybody asks that. So we're able to give those. I also cannot tell you how many people will do the hands-free treatments on the face or the body and will also do the laser hair removal at the same time. So again, generating 2 types of income for that 1 staff member is pivotal for our growth as a practice. You can also, because the Define is flat on the back, they can lay down and get their Evolve treatment at the same time. We have tons of medical weight loss clients that will do that because they are really afraid of that laxity that they can see with that weight loss. And then like we were talking about earlier before, that Morpheus and CO2, I do the Morpheus first, CO2 CO2 immediately after, but I'm not doing that 1 millimeter, and so we're able to really see textural changes. This is after 1 Morpheus CO2 4 weeks later, and this is her under eyes. And so again, we're able to really see those textural changes that they want, and they're more comfortable. So my takeaway for you is I use the hands-free and CO2 in lots of different ways, but you can reproduce this with lots of things. You want something that you can put value add, increase sales, combination therapy, set yourself apart from your competitors, really give those wow effects. And so our next speaker, Lindsay, is fantastic because she's going to go more into those combination therapies with Morpheus 8. Thank you so much. Lindsay, come on up.